time for me to reign and establishing this kingdom on earth, taking charge in the world of His hands. Hold Him fast to the face you don't dance. I rule on earth. Are we everywhere? Get us on the floor. Get us on the floor. You're listening to Dominion Voice by Pastor Larry Ajanoku.
Now we are moving on straight. We're looking at the topic insight. We have looked at life. When you look at life generally, you realize that a lot of us struggle with life. A lot even believe that it is their faith to struggle in life. But I tell a lot of people, there is nothing like struggling. It's not the desire. The way God created the world is not for us to struggle. And it is very, very clear. So you see people, they struggle and they cannot explain the reason why they struggle. And one major reason that a lot of people struggle is because a lot of people lack vision. Because when you don't have vision, you will realize that you are just like someone who is aimlessly going to nowhere. And when you don't have a vision, you realize that anywhere you get to will look like it. If you don't have a vision of where you are going to, you will eventually settle for the good. What God designs for every one of us is to settle for the best. But a lot of people just get to the place of good and we just sit down there and we say that's all. So the absence of vision is one thing that makes a lot of people to struggle. The absence of vision is what makes a lot of people also not to be able to get exactly what they want out of life. If I should ask every one of us here, what's your plan for the next 3 years? Where do you want to find yourself in the next 3 years? If you cannot pick it right on your fingertips, it shows that something is amiss. That means you are just moving with the tide of life. And that's not the desire. And that's why we're here. That's why we're here to tell ourselves this truth and to equip ourselves with the truth. I want us to know that it is not enough for any one of us to know the fact and the truth. But what makes the difference is what you do with the truth that you know. If you know a truth and you don't do anything about that truth, it's not going to profit anyone. It's not going to profit. So vision is a state of being. It's a state of being able to see. Vision is a state of being able to see where you want to go to, where you want to be, and how you want to get there. It's a eyesight, the eyesight. Vision is also an observation. Vision is a perception about your life, perception of where you want to get to. And when we talk of vision, we could realize that vision can be divided into three. Talking of the vision of sight, you're talking of the foresight, the hindsight, and the insight. These three are very, very important. The foresight is your ability to be able to predict or to act, to predict where you are going to be able to predict the future, to be able to predict what happens to you. Foresight is your ability to be able to predict, to forecast what's going to happen to you in the nearest future. Now, anyone that does not have foresight is not going anywhere. You must know, you must have foresight. You must have foresight. While the other side is the hindsight. The hindsight is your ability to be able to understand situations after it has happened. Hindsight, ability to be able to look back and understand the situation and be able to find an interpretation to it. You hear a lot of people who say, oh, for the benefit of hindsight. And it's before now I took that decision then, but for the benefit of hindsight, I haven't looked back now. I can now see the reason why he or she took that decision. You're talking of hindsight, which has to do with your memory. The foresight has to do with your imagination. And that is the great weapon that God has given to every one of us. And then there is the insight, which is what we are looking at today. Foresight and hindsight without insight cannot help us to be able to take advantage of the past and of the future that we want to experience. So what's insight? Insight is a deep understanding of a thing, a deep understanding of someone, a deep understanding of, first and foremost, yourself. If you don't have an understanding of yourself, you will realize that you will end up being somebody else. And you know what? No matter how quickly you copy somebody, you want to be somebody else, the best you can be is to be number 2. The very person you are copying can only be number 1. When you copy somebody, you can only be number 2. Does it mean I cannot learn from someone? No, you can learn from someone. You can pick 1 or 2 things from other people, but you just have to be yourself. At every point in time, you have to be yourself. And for your ability to be yourself, you need to have an insight of yourself. You have to have an insight of where he was going. And people called him and said, hey, I want to make you a king. But what did he say? He said no. Why? Because he had an insight of who he is. I don't want to be a king here on earth because I'm the King of Kings. So, but it looks very nice, it looks very glamorous to be made a king. So a lot of people become somebody else basically because they don't have an insight of who they are. Your ability to have an insight of yourself gives you stability. You realize that you're not pressured. You realize that you're not copying anyone. You realize that you're not in competition with anyone. Absolutely. Your ability to know, to have insight in yourself, insight in place and situations and people makes you to be able to place even relationship well. So, insight is that power, is that innate power that is being released for speed and success. Insight is that innate power that is being released for speed and success. It is having inside information. Insight is having inside information, either of the business, of yourself, the business, or possibly success, or possibly an interview or a company. Then, for example, if you're going for an interview, you will be told that, hey, after you've been called for the interview, go do a little bit of research on the company you want to find out. Go into the internet, read about them. What are you trying to find out? Okay. Insight into that company, because once you have insight, you are well equipped for that to be that very good candidate. A lot of people go for interviews, say, oh, I'm just going to go, I'm just going to walk in there. And they make a lot of mistakes. And then they say, oh, you must have insight. And even also, if you are going into a business, you must have insight into that business before you go into it. You must have insight. After you have made your plans, after you have made your preparation, after you are well focused, you must have insight. Once you are going into a business and you don't have insight into that business, you're going to run into crisis. And then you're going to say, oh, that business is not working. No, the business is working. The only challenge is that you have not gotten adequate insight as to what you're going to do. So whatever you want to do, you must first of all seek insight before you start the journey. A man of insight is a person that knows where to turn at every crossroad. Once you have insight, it gives you speed. It does not only give you speed, it also helps you to be able to know where to turn when you get to every crossroad. It equips you with understanding. Insight equips you with understanding to make right choices. Today we're going to have a little bit of insight into real estate. A lot of people I've seen, they've entered into the real estate. They're not knowing exactly what they have to do. They don't know exactly which area to buy their property. They don't know what benefit has to take. Why? Because it lacks insight. And at the end of the day, they run into trouble. They run into trouble. They run into problems. Because insight is extremely important. Insight equips every one of us to be able to make right choices in our journey of life. Insight is the operating vision that is unleashed before we commence a journey. Insight is the operating vision that is unleashed, that is released before we commence a journey. Before you commence a journey, you must seek insight. That means by you seeking insight, you have started a journey before you took the first physical steps. The first physical step. So within your insight, you must take that journey on the inside first and foremost before you launch out. A lot of people plan, but they don't have insight. A lot of people want to do things, but they don't have insight. Even in sports, in life, in war, you must seek insight. Even in marriage, you must seek insight. In seeking success, you must seek insight. You know, it's amazing. A lot of people want to get into marriage and they don't seek insight into marriage. They just believe marriage is all about love. But I tell you sincerely, it takes more than love to sustain you in marriage. Anyone who's been married 18 years, and I tell you sincerely, it takes more than love. It takes more than love. It takes understanding. It takes communication. It takes understanding. It takes communication. It takes patience. A lot of people say, oh, I want to get married, but they don't seek insight into marriage. You want to get married. How many books of marriage have you read? You know, after I relocated here to Alberta and I came here to Edmonton, and I was going to start driving, I was told I have to go and first pass the test. I've been driving for over 15 years. And I said, What? I have to write a test? Yeah, you have to write a test before you can hit the road. So I said, okay, fine, I'm going to write the test. And I was given the book to read. My wife told me, read the book, read it well, so that you can have insight. I said, look, I've been driving for over 15 years. So I went and I took the test. I got to the test, I sat with the computer, as I was picking the answer. When I got to number 14, the system, no, the first one, when I got to number 14, the system shut down. So I called the lady. I said, hey, it's shut down. She said, you failed. I said, failed? So I believe it's first $17.50. So I left, and I came back the second time. I go back home, and whatever. How was it? She was still reading. She said, how was it? I said, don't worry. Went back again. So I did it the second time. She said, take this book and read. I was looking at all the signs. I know the signs. I know this. I did it the second time. It took a longer time for the computer to shut down this time. I got to number 17. The computer shut down. This time, I didn't ask the woman, I just left. I didn't ask again, I left. But the third time, I had now to sit down, and I read, and I practiced some questions on the internet, and the time I went back, I was more confident. Now I had insight. I sat for the test. Within a jiffy, I passed. Are you done? I said, yeah, I'm done. The computer said, yeah. But before I got to number 20, he just said something, he just put off again. And I said, what happened this time? Then she looked, oh, you passed. I said, oh, yeah, I passed. Why? Because I had insight. Now, do you know something? As difficult as, even after that, after the written test, I still had to be tested on the road. Why? Because I've not driven on the snowy road before. So I had to be tested on the road, and I passed again. Now, if it's just to drive a vehicle, I had to go and study and find out and get the insight. Now, which one is more important, to drive or marriage? Marriage. Your marriage is much more important. I can do without driving, but you can't do without. I can't do without being married. Now, a lot of people, we give ourselves so much preparation to drive, but when it comes to marriage, we are not prepared. Everybody just wants to take a stroll. Why? Because you just feel there's a butterfly flying on the inside of you. Oh, I'm in love. Say, okay, yes, you're in love. Yes, I'm just in love. I just will be in love. It takes much more than being in love. It takes communication. Having insights about marriage, it takes understanding. It takes understanding. When you are married, there is an understanding of your early stage of marriage, when it's you and your wife alone. Then when children begin to come in, there's going to be another dynamics. The dynamics change. Now when the children are grown up and they go to college, it's going to be another dynamic. Recently, statistics have shown that a lot of marriages now are breaking in their 20s. Marriages in their 20s, 20 years and above. Why? Because people have not had the opportunity, or have not thought through having insight to understand what it takes. Because when the children are together, there is one atmosphere that's created in the home. But when the children are long gone, what happens? It's you and your wife now. So if you are not friends, that's where it's going to be. That's where it's going to show. Possibly you just see the children as a project. That's why you are together. So once the children leave the house, what happens? It's you and your husband alone. Then he's watching the TV. Probably before you had opportunity of having chats with the children. Now the children are not there, and you now want to talk to your husband. You say, "Oh, why didn't you just leave me?" Hey. The dynamics have changed again. Insight into marriage is very, very important. Amen. What about insight? Insight even into war. Every nation that goes to war normally will try to find out what is insight about the country I'm going to fight with. They find out the number of their army, the numerical strength of their army. They find out the numerical strength. And they even find out, okay, what is the war terrain? What's the war terrain? How's the war going to look like? I remember some time ago, the history showed that when Germany was taking over lots of countries, they got to Russia, and it was very, very cold. And because of that, they had to retreat. Why? They could have overrun the country, but they never had insight about the climate. A lot of people want to come over to Edmonton. I tell them, have you found insights about their climate in Edmonton? Because Edmonton is very warm, isn't it? Yeah. Edmonton is very warm, isn't it? Yeah. As warm as -25 times. Very warm. So you have to find out about the inside, so you don't get shocked. Hey, in case someone is watching me on the video, Edmonton is very cold. It's not warm. It could be as cold as -40 at times. Insights about the climate. Insights about the weapons. Insights about the skillfulness of the soldiers that you're going to fight with. Are they Navy people? Do they have naval? Do they have Air Force? Do they have army that fights on the floor. You have to find out insights about this. Military people will never go into war with any nation without finding out insight. Even in sports, every seasoned coach will ensure that he or she has an insight before he embarks to go into that game. Why? That is where technical competence comes in. When you see a team, they may not be, you may see a bunch of guys, they may not be totally skillful as the other team, yet the other team that is much more skillful than these guys, they find them difficult to beat. Why? We say that the team has technical competence. That is, the coach has found out what is, had looked into the inside, had insight about the other team. So he knows who is the very, very dangerous player among them. Then he places one of his players and make sure you take him out of the game. Just mark him out. Once you disconnect him, the whole team is off. In every team, there is somebody who stands out. So every coach will know that you don't need to bother about the whole number of the bunch of guys that are against your team. All you just need to find out who is the strength of that team. Once you put off that person, the whole team will just become average. Insight is very, very important. Even insight into success. Insight into success. A lot of people want to succeed, but we don't have insight into success. We have to find out that, hey, to be successful is not just a stroll. I'm telling you, if anybody tells you he's being successful and he just takes a stroll while he's whistling with his hands in his pocket, he may just be telling you a partial truth. It may be that his time of relaxing. There's always a time for hard work.
It's time for me to reign and establishing this kingdom on earth, taking charge in the world of His hands. Holding fast to the faith you'll dance. I rule on earth. I will.
You're listening to Dominion Voice by